To measure anything, we need indexes, just like stock market index. We do have Sensex, we do have Nifty. So when we say that the stock market is going up, we are talking about Sensex or Nifty, right? What is Nifty? It is a bunch of 50 stocks. It is an index which is having a bunch of 50 stocks. What is Sensex? It is having a bunch of 30 stocks in it. So whenever we say that the stock market is going up or going down, we are talking about the index, right? And not about the particular stocks. Similarly, if I talk about inflation, when I say that the inflation is going up, I mean that the CPI or the WPI is going up. So we do have index for everything. Just like that, we do have index for digital payments as well. Now, if I talk about digital payment, definitely it is about UPI, it is about RTGS, it is about NEFT, it is about IMPS, right? Mobile banking, each and everything is again a part of your digital payment. Whenever you are making a payment digitally, that will be a part of your digital payment index. And what digital payment index is all about? To check whether the digital payments in India, they are going up or they are going down. We do have an index for that. And RBI frequently releases the data related to the DPI. So this is the data which was recently released on September. This is related to the September 2025 month ka data, which was recently released in the February 2026. So let's start, guys. RBI DPI, this is called as a composite index. Why we call it as a composite index? Because there are so many things in it, like UPI, like RTGS, we have so many payment methods. And it is introduced by Reserve Bank of India. Why? Because RBI wants to measure and track the level of digitization in India. What is the level of digitization of the payments in India as of now? So this will be a direct indicator of that. So it is published since 1st of January 2021, okay? So, but the base year, if I talk about the base year, from which year I am measuring the increase in the digital payments, I am measuring it from March 2018, okay? So this is the base year. Please do remember the base year, it is March 2018 and base year is always equivalent to 100, okay? Base year is always equivalent to 100. The launch date is January 2021. So since January 2021, we do have the DPI data. And the base year for reference is March 2018. Now, why we have started the DPI from January 2021? Because after the COVID, there was an increase in the digital payments like anything, right? We all know about the UPI growth story as well. So that's why government also encouraged, the RBI also encouraged that let's start an index which is called as digital payment index, which will definitely tell us how much digitization is happening in the payment system, okay? The whole idea is transitioning towards the dream of having a cashless economy, right? Purpose to capture the extent of adoption of digital payments, whether we are adopting the digital payments or not. It also helps the policymakers and financial institutions to analyze the progress and areas of improvement, right? So here we can see that in the Statement of Development and Regulatory Policies, which came in 2020, February 2020 ka statement, we can see about the digital payment index, right? So in this statement on development and regulatory policy, the statement was released related to the digital payment index as well. Let's start the digital payment index. It will be a great initiative. And here we can see recent data related to the DPI. This is for the September 2025 ka data. Earlier we used to have March 2025 ka data. And as of now, we have the September 2025 ka data. So it is released on a semi-annual basis. So it is released for March and for September month. Okay. So half yearly ka data hota hai ye aapka. It will be published on Reserve Bank of India's website on a semi-annual basis. That means 2 times a year. So as of now, the data for September 2025 is 516.76. You have to remember this data. Okay. Please do remember the data. Earlier, the March ka data used to be 493.22 and as of now the data is 516.76. okay, so there is an increase in the DPI is what we can conclude by having a look at the data, right? Now there are so many constituents of this particular index. There are so many parameters in this particular index. Okay, if I talk about this time why the growth has been there from 493, why we are standing at 516 on September 2025, because of changes in 2 parameters, because of significant growth in the 2 parameters. The first one is payment performance. We'll be discussing about each and every parameter as well. The first one is payment performance. How well we have performed in terms of the payment. And the payment enablers. The payment enablers are the enablers of the payment. Okay, we'll be discussing about each and everything in this particular video. So there are two parameters. As of now, there is a growth in two parameters. There are so many parameters. Out of that, there was growth in payment performance and payment enablers. Because of that, there was an increase in the index value for September 2025. Let's talk about the historical trend of the index. So March 2018 becomes the base year, and after that, we can see a consistent increase. There was not a single release in which the data went down. We are having a consistent increase, and as of now in September 2025 we are at an all-time high DPI level of 516.76. So this is the first time we are crossing the 500 level. Earlier in March 2025 the data was 493.22, right? If I talk about the parameters and subparameters of DPI, this is going to be important for the examination. What things are important? The very first thing is the recent data, which is 516.76 of September, right? So data 516.76 plus the driving reasons. Driving reasons are payment performance and payment enablers. So driving reasons plus the data is very, very important. The very first thing, right? So these can be two questions. The third thing is when the DPI is released. So it is released on a semi-annual basis. Okay. So September 2025 ka data is released in February. So October, November, December, January, after 4 months approximately it is released. In 4 to 5 months it is released, right? So if I talk about March 2026 ka data, this financial year March 2026 ka data, it will be released by April, May, June, July. Somewhere in July to August month it will be released, okay? Somewhere in the August month it will be released. So if your examination is there after August, then definitely you have to study the March 2026 ka data. Otherwise September 2025 ka data will be relevant for you, okay? But no worries at all. Even if there is a change in the data, we have to just learn the new data, but rest of the static concepts will remain the same only. So let's study now the static concept. Static concepts are basically the parameters and the subparameters. How the numbers are going up and down. Okay. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 parameters in the digital payment index. The very first one is payment enablers. The things that are enabling us to make the digital payment. Internet. Without internet, you can't make the payment. Mobile, you need to have a mobile. You need to have Aadhaar card, right? Your bank account and your Aadhaar card should be linked. Otherwise, you won't be able to use UPI. You won't be able to use the other net banking services. Bank account, that's a very basic thing. If you don't have bank account, you can't use UPI. You can't use NEFT, RTGS and other payment methods. Participants, all of us are participants, including the banks, including the payment systems, other participants and merchants, right? Merchant is nothing but a seller, I will say. Let's suppose I am buying a t-shirt. So that person is a merchant who is selling me the t-shirt, right? So these are the payment enablers, because merchants do have adequate infrastructure first in their shop. So these are the payment enablers, I will say. These are enabling the payments. The second one is payment infrastructure. Second and third one is payment infrastructure, but payment infrastructure can be defined in both the ways. It can be demand side, it can be supply side as well. When we talk about demand side, it is more about debit cards, credit cards, how many debit cards are actually issued, how many credit cards are actually issued. It shows the demand, like whether people love to use debit cards or credit cards, right? Or maybe prepaid payment instruments, right? Fast tags, how many fast tags are issued. So these all are in the category of the payment infrastructure. Demand side infrastructure means how well we have developed the technology and whether we are able to fulfill the demand in terms of debit card, credit card. If you don't have debit card, if you don't have credit card, then the demand side infrastructure is lacking, I will say. People don't like to use the credit card. So I will say the demand side infrastructure related issue is there. Then we do have payment infrastructure supply side. How many bank branches are there? Higher the bank branches, better the supply chain is, whether you are even able to serve the customer, whether you are even able to supply the products to the customer, products and services to the customer. So in the payment infrastructure supply side, we do have bank branches, business correspondents, how many number of ATMs do we have, how many POS terminals we do have. Then we are having the payment performance. In terms of performance, how well our payment system is doing. So how many unique users are there, digital payment system in terms of volume, what is the increase in the volume, what is the decrease in the volume, plus the value as well, right? So these are the payment performance related criteria. You have to read all the criteria, all the parameters as well as the sub parameters for the exam. Then comes the consumer centricity. How much awareness we are able to spread, how much education wise we are able to teach the consumer, explain the consumer about their benefit, right? What are the complaint redressal mechanism that we have stated, how many number of frauds are there, right? So all these things are in the consumer centricity, even the system downtime, which is impacting the consumers, right? So these are the 5 parameters, and each parameter is having certain weights as well, which we need to know. If I talk about the payment enabler, 25% of the weight is assigned to the payment enabler. What do you mean by weight? So if 100 is the DPI, digital payment index, if 100 is the DPI, then out of that 25% will be emanating from the payment enablers. Demand side payment infrastructure, only 10%. Then we have the supply side, 15%. Payment performance, 45%, the highest weightage in the DPI data. So this actually tracks how much usage in terms of volume, in terms of value we are doing, what is the success rate of the transaction, what is the speed and reliability of the transaction. The whole idea is what is the performance of the payment, and this is the most important thing. Why? Because we have so many credit cards, debit cards, doesn't matter, right? Consumer protection awareness is also a secondary matter, but when we talk about the performance, whether people are actually using the thing or not, that's what payment performance is. So actual usage of volume as well as the value wise usage is very, very crucial when we talk about the DPI data, and then consumer centricity is only having 5% of the weight. So if we evaluate in terms of weight, then consumer centricity 5%, which is the lowest weight. Then we are having demand side 10%. So demand side is 10% weight, supply side is 15% weight, payment performance wise is 45% weight, and payment enabler is 25% weight. Okay, so these weights also you have to remember. Okay, the highest one is payment performance, the lowest one is consumer centricity, and please do read the meaning and key indicators as well. I have simplified all the terms for you in this particular column. Okay. So when the DPI data was introduced by Reserve Bank of India, they have given the 5 parameters and the weights as well, which we have already studied, right? So this is the DPI data, guys. Now there are 2 questions for your homework purpose. Do let me know in the comment section what will be the correct choice. The digital payment index assigns different weights to its components. Which parameter holds the highest weight of the index in the calculation? So here are the 5 options. Do let me know in the comment section which is the correct one, right? And after that we do have one more question. Increase in the number of debit cards and credit cards issued to the customer, increasing the count of the UPI ID, and higher adoption of the digital wallets by the customer. Now which parameter here is related to the DPI? Right, so here again we are having 5 parameters. You need to tell me the correct one in the comment section. So 2 questions for your homework, right? So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. It was full of learning for all of you in terms of what things are relevant for our examination and the recent update related to the digital payment index. See you soon in some other video. Take care.